It's a orange juice.
What's up everyone, this is OJ. The Bandit is a low-cost 3 elixir card that you cannot afford to ignore. It's like if you were able to plant 1 elite barbarian at the bridge for 3 elixir, it's pretty devastating, as she'll deal over 1,000 damage. She's like a supercharged knight. She has the same damage and attack speed as a knight. But the knight has 86% more health and runs slower, so you can't bank elixir by planting her in the back like you would a knight. And she dies much faster inside graveyard compared to the knight. The Bandit is invulnerable when she dashes, but does not cause a retarget. Nothing hits it while she's dashing. Not even spells can inflict damage on her while she's blurred out. But once she reaches her destination, she stops being invulnerable to damage. A bandit versus another bandit cancels each other out. Think of her charge as a sparky charge. During the charging phase, you can zap them and reset the charge. With her dash charge, it deals double damage and can bypass the first bowler's attack. One-on-one, she'll be able to cancel out a bowler with the help of your arena tower. Her dash doesn't save her from everything though. It's a little too fast for Sparky, so she'll still get the blast off. Her dash has a 1 second cooldown time, so she can charge up real fast. Despite all the skeletons that spawn from Tombstone, she can dash away towards a tombstone really fast, and this is just an example of an unsupported bandit. On the topic of spawners, she is able to snipe a spawner that is planted 3 tiles from the river, sniping out the building. She can walk on water, but she can't turn it into wine. However, it's important to note that spawners have a larger hitbox, so if a shooting structure like a cannon or expo is planted 3 tiles from the river, she will not dash through the river. Despite not being able to river walk, she's still relatively effective at disarming a cannon. If she's charging on a unit like a princess, you can actually protect her with smaller units like skeletons. This can only be done while she's still charging. You cannot stop her if she's already mid-dash, so if she's already dashing and you plant skeletons down, she's just going to fly past those skeletons. The bandit is kinda hard to lure with units into the king's tower. She doesn't have much health and will get distracted easily by skeletons, but Tornado does a good job of bringing her to the king's tower if she's alone. One interesting thing though is that she can potentially miss a hog because he's so fast. She'll miss both of her dashes, but this is a very specific example of the bandit planted at the bridge. She can take out quite a few things. Her dash mechanic is so unique. Against the musketeer, she'll take out the first hit as she charges. Then, she'll pass through the second bullet. The best way to take care of a bandit is with swarm cards. Guards work pretty well since they have a shield that she has a tough time getting through. But one of the best single counters will be the goblins. Her regular attack doesn't one-shot the goblins, so this makes for positive elixir trades. Ice Golem or Knight will be another obvious choice in tanking her or taking her out, especially if she's supported by something in front like a giant. Poison is more versatile than Bomb Tower. I took Furnace because it can counter the Barbarian Hut and it's a little bit cheaper. Rage is the obvious choice here because Clone Spell almost never provides value. Plus I have Poison and Furnace to take care of the clones. I needed the Musketeer in my deck for the anti-air and DPS and possibly as a win condition. So for the draft challenge, you'll want to pick the clearest win conditions. Players tend to pick cards they like, but it's more important to pick a win condition, even if it means sacrificing a card that you like. Always pick a counter if you have the option. So if you get the choice to pick Minion Horde or Wizard, always go for the Wizard to take care of their swarms. Just like any other regular match, don't rush the game and never overspend elixir. So don't use poison in their tower just because you can clip a Mega Minion. You don't know their 4 cards yet. What if they have Barbarians or Minion Horde? That could mess you up later on. If you've taken out 1 tower and you think you can defend, go for it. But if you're slowly getting chipped away, chances are you're going to lose that tower anyways, so go for that second tower. Cards that are usually considered bad are not necessarily bad in the draft challenge, which is a pretty good example of this. In grand challenges or ladder matches, all of the meta cards deal with her incredibly well, but the chances of having meta cards ready to counter her in a draft challenge are unlikely. She's incredibly versatile, can spawn 3 skeletons to tank single target hitters like Mini PEKKA, Prince, and most importantly, the Bandit. She one-shots skeletons with her attack, and offers ranged splash damage, so she's adept at taking out swarms as well. Picking your cards are the most important aspect of the draft challenge. Be diligent and pick counter cards that you've already given to your opponent. It should go without saying, but don't counter yourself. If you gave them arrows and a bowler, then Goblin Barrel is going to be much less effective. It's good to pick cards that require very specific answers. Graveyard is a prime example of this because you need archers or minions to counter Graveyard, but chances are they won't be picking archers or even be given the chance to pick archers themselves. Some cards that are hard to deal with in a challenge would be a Lava Hound, Golem, PEKKA, or Graveyard. For the bigger tanks, if you don't have Inferno Tower, It's generally very hard to deal with these cards. If you have a Lava Hound, try to avoid giving them stuff like arrows so they can't counter your pups. For PEKKA, avoid giving them swarm units like Skeleton Army, and try to pick cards that complement it well. AoE cards come to mind, like arrows or the wizard. Almost nobody will be prepared for graveyard in a draft challenge. Goblins, archers, and minions are great answers to the graveyard, but you rarely see these cards in the draft challenge. Pick those counters yourself to ensure your graveyard can lock onto their tower. Balloon is a decent pick too. It's somewhat of a gamble, but if they don't have much anti-air, there's not much they can do and it'll slip through the cracks. Cards that need very specific answers would be Goblin Barrel, Minion Horde, Goblin Gang, or the Barbarians. The barrel can deal quite a bit of damage, especially if they don't have the log or arrows. Minion Horde is probably one of the most devastating cards in the game. I almost always pick Minion Horde. Of course, take the advice with a grain of salt and adapt to the situation. My final game, I gave my opponent Minion Horde, Minions, and Skarmy because I had Witch Wizard and Ice Wizard. All tanks are going to be good, and Ice Golem is a better pick than an Ice Spirit. For one more elixir, the range of units it can counter are far greater, and it's a lower risk pick. Overall, we both countered each other, and I was only dealing damage with Poison and Fireball. Between Lightning and the log is a more versatile spell and it's cheaper. PEKKA is always a good choice if they don't have swarm cards. It's impossible to counter and is great for taking out tanks. And with my log, I can demolish most swarm units in case my opponent has Skarmy or anything like that. Between guards and the knight, I chose the guards because it counters my PEKKA, and my PEKKA can kill the knight. Unsure if my opponent gave me any splash units or spells, Minion Horde is kinda the safe choice. Plus it can counter the Musketeer one-on-one. Between arrows and lightning, the cheaper spell makes sense for my playstyle. I think the Bandit is one of the best cards in the game, so she's the obvious choice. Plus, Expo is a really gimmicky card that requires a very specific amount of support cards to perform well. Between Mirror and Tornado, Mirror is a relatively useless card. They can't mirror Expo or Lightning. Plus, Tornado is so versatile. It can take out swarms and activate the King's Tower. Between Baby Dragon and Inferno Tower, the building is the obvious choice here because it can take out the Baby Dragon and counter that Expo. Here's a perfect example of where my Inferno Tower takes out the Baby Dragon and Expo. Of course I had to use my Mega Minion to absorb the Ice Spirit and protect my Inferno Tower, but it was worth it. Then I sent in my Skeletons to tank 4 shots from the tower. This allowed my Mega Minion to swipe the tower once, despite being frozen by an Ice Spirit. In this match, Ice Golem provides more value than Zap. They both take out Skeleton Army and they manage Minion Horde and bring them down to low health for an Arena Tower. But Ice Golem can do much more, like tanking single units like a Prince. With the choice between Fireball and Poison, there's not enough info about my opponent, so I just picked Fireball because I prefer direct damage. Presented with Tornado and Barrel, this is pure luck. Tornado always forces the Goblin Barrel to activate the King's Tower. I chose the Barb Hut because I needed a secondary win condition in case my last 4 cards that my opponent picked are just support cards. About 40 seconds into the game and the King's Tower is already activated with the Tornado. Goblin Hut spawns faster, and therefore it counters the Furnace. This one was a tough choice, but I chose Skeleton Army because they're more spread out and can deal with the Furnace slightly better. With Zap and Lightning, the Zap counters my Skeleton Army and the Lightning counters my Goblin Hut, so I chose the lowest elixir card. Again, I'm given the choice between Clone and the Bandit. This is too easy. I gave him the dead card and took one of the best cards in the game. I always pick the lower elixir spell, but this is a bit risky because I might need that Fireball for swarms. Giant is one of the best picks you can ever get because he's incredibly hard to take down and he's just so versatile in offense and defense. The Prince does take out the Giant pretty good, so I'll only be using the Giant on my side to defend against him. Bomb Tower costs too much, so I picked Cannon, which is enough to take out the Prince as well. Then the Bandit is a little ball of positive elixir trades. I really like her. This is a risky pick because I have no splash units, and Minion Horde could end me since I gave Fireball away and the Princess. Currently my score is 11-2, so this is the most important game of my career. Between Arrows and the Witch is more versatile and can take out everything Arrows can. And her Skeletons can tank ground units. I have the Witch, so I'm not afraid of Sparky. The Ice Wizard will provide more defensive value for swarms and slows everything by 35%. I'm picking the Balloon as my win condition because the Ice Wizard and the Witch can take care of the Minion Horde. And my final pick is the Wizard or Minions, so this is too easy. Wizards counter the Minions and Minion Horde. I literally have answers to everything I gave my opponent. The Witch takes out the Minions on the left side, and the Wizard takes care of the Minion Horde on the right side. In this match, I picked Graveyard over Lava Hound because it's harder to deal with and requires precise counters. The Lava Hound is potentially worthless if it doesn't have the right support cards. My next pick is perfect. Fireball counters Lava Hound. The Mega Minion does complement his Lava Hound, but archers are the hard counter to my graveyard, so I picked the archers to save for myself. The bowler is a versatile defensive card that can take care of most units. On the other hand, the miner complements his lava hound, but my bowler can take care of that miner and tank the lava pups. The deciding factor was that the bowler can counter the graveyard, so I took the bowler for myself, plus he's a great tank for the graveyard. Starting off the match, I'm playing bowler in the back and he immediately plays a lava hound. Placing my archers around this distance keeps them safe while my bowler tanks everything. Then I played my minions slightly to the right so the baby dragon wouldn't splash the bowler and the minions. My units take out his baby dragon and mega minion, and right as his lava hound pops, I planted a mini P.E.K.K.A to tank the pups, but I wasn't expecting a poison. Doesn't matter, I can still send in a graveyard. That one surviving minion dealt a massive amount of damage. My opponent pushes with miner and bandit, with the bowler targeting the miner, tanking the ice spirit and the bandit. I'm now up 2 elixir. I'm gonna let the bowler die, so our cycles reset. I have archers in the back, confident I can rocket the left side. I'm going all in with graveyard on the right side. Lucky for me, he planted lava hound on the left side the same time I played mini P.E.K.K.A on the right side. He's gonna lose the right side, so he's going all in on the left side with mega minion to support his lava hound. I'm waiting for the hound to pop so I can take out the pups and clip that mega minion. That was a value fireball. With 1 minute left, I just need to defend. I think he's feeling desperate, so he rushed Skarmy on the right side. I placed my bowler high enough so he can counter the Skarmy, then swerve back to the left to tank for my archers. Again with the lava hound in the front, this is nothing. I just need to target the king's tower. This draws out his bandit and skeleton army, so his lava hound is unsupported. So even though I gave him lava hound, miner, and mega minion, he didn't really have any counters to my graveyard since I held on to the archers and minions. I hope this was helpful. Draft is a completely different mode that requires a completely different way of thinking. Some of my tips may not even be applicable because it might not even suit your playstyle. If you haven't checked out Bandit, it's an app where you can organize clan communications, share content, or just hang out. There's going to be a really huge in-app event happening in April, so stick around. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more quality OJ.